Hi. In 1975, I went on an exchange trip for sixth formers to Eastern Europe and Russia. We travelled through East Germany, Czechoslovakia, Romania and Poland and on into Russia. The communist regimes in these countries ruled over people with terror. They had re-education camps for anyone who did not follow their communist beliefs. They had secret police like the German Stasi spying on everyone. Many people were imprisoned, tortured and killed. They tried to enforce their communist beliefs with threats, fear and harsh rules. And they thought by doing this they could make people live how they wanted them to and to make them believe what they wanted to believe. But we all know what happened in 1989 and 90. The Russian Confederation collapsed and one by one all the occupied countries became independent and they all abandoned communism and turned to democracy. All the threats, the fear, the rules had failed to convince people to believe in communism. In fact, all human empires and kingdoms have failed because they were based on fear, power, threats and punishment. But the kingdom of God is not like that. And I think it's a great shame that somehow the Christian church is now viewed by many people as at best irrelevant and at worst homophobic, anti-women's equality, judgmental, intolerant and uncaring. Now we know it's not like that, or at least most churches are not. Many are involved in social activity, running food banks, supporting single mothers with childcare clubs, providing debt advice services and job clubs, etc. Most of you will be aware that the Mount of Olives is running a job club, and I would encourage you to pray for the success of that initiative, and if you know anyone who's struggling to get a job, to tell them about it. And I don't want to offend anyone, but standing on street corners shouting at people that they are dirty sinners and they're going to hell will never convince anyone that following Jesus is really good news. Jesus spent more time with sinners than he did with so-called religious people, and he was more critical of religious leaders like the Pharisees and Sadducees than he was of prostitutes, corrupt tax collectors and beggars. I believe we need to love people into the kingdom of God, not to try to scare them into it. Just as those communist leaders found out, you can scare people into obeying rules, but you can't make them truly believe. But what did Jesus say when he was asked which are the most important commandments? Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul and all your mind. This is the greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbour as yourself. All the law and prophets hang on these two commandments." That's in Matthew 22. And James, the brother of Jesus, says this in James 1. "Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this, to look after widows and orphans in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world." Jesus never condemned anyone. He said he came to the world not to condemn people, but to save them. As followers of Jesus, maybe we need to be a bit less concerned about being 100% right on our theology and doctrine, and a bit more concerned about showing unconditional love, respect, care, and acceptance. We need to love people into the kingdom of God. Have a good day.